I wish I could grow 2 or 3 more inches. I might finally make it to 7 feet tall,
Your
Tom.
knees couldn't take it.
Tom, the key for the Lakers today, rebound the ball. Possession so critical. The transition defense, focusing in on Rasheed Wallace and Isaiah Ryder, and then give the ball to Shaq, get everybody in foul trouble.
Not since Bill Walton played for the Blazers have they won a playoff game in Los Angeles, May 8, 1977, when they won the NBA championship.
And Tom, the way that they can break that streak is to have a little edge about them. They know that they had that ball game in hand for almost three and a half quarters, and then they let it slip away. They have got to play smart basketball and certainly not be dominated and intimidated by O'Neal.
Hugh Hollins, Joe Forte, Greg Willard, the officials for today's Game 2. And Sabonis slaps it to Grant, and the Blazers have it to open the game.
Portland started game 1 by posting J.R. Ryder, trying to get him against Eddie Jones. They start the same way.
But he loses it, picked up by Shaq, and now by Ori. Lob it for Jones, broken up by Wallace. Jones blocked by Sabonis, who commits the foul.
Explosive action underneath the Laker basket. Rasheed Wallace started it off with a phenomenal defensive play, and then Shaq, the quick pass. Now this is a game with 2 great passing centers. Sabonis, of course, Shaquille O'Neal. Foul trouble. Sabonis early.
He got the first one. He can't afford to be giving up fouls on Eddie Jones or anybody else because he's got to use all of his bullets against Shaq. He's only got 5 left in the chamber.
Played only 24 minutes, did Sabonis in game 1.
Never foul a guard when you're playing against Shaq for 48 minutes.
Sabonis with the rebound. Lakers score the first point.
Blazers have to help Sabonis, though, by penetrating, drawing Shaq, and following him in the defense. Mike Dunleavy really thinks Sabonis can spot up for some perimeter jumpers.
Stoudemire being checked by Fisher.
Here's a guy that's got to bring it to the dance for the Trailblazers. They traded for him to get his leadership and his scoring ability. He started strong in the first quarter. Shaq is dancing.
Shaq, coast to coast.
Well, Magic Johnson is here, and Magic was the premier player of his generation in the coast-to-coast action, and Magic was beaming before the game today, as he is right now.
Sabonis, tough pass inside. Nice catch by Brian Grant for the slam.
When Sabonis can get his legs moving, remember, this is a guy who doesn't have much left in those legs that have carried him through a brilliant Hall of Fame career. When he can get those legs going, he can be a phenomenal passer.
Eddie Jones with a penetration and the Portland foul. Not going to be Brian Grant.
Eddie Jones seems to have a little bit more aggressive attitude than he did, and maybe it's because of all of the talk that's gone on over the last couple of days by Ryder, but he's in an attacking mood. In game 1, he basically stayed out on the perimeter and was taking what was available, and you see him parrying to the basket. Second chance at the free throw line, so he's got 1 down.
As I walked by Eddie, and he was warming up today, he said, more aggressive today, more aggressive today. So you're right, Steve.
He did have 7 rebounds in that ball game. He did have 6 block shots. His team did win the game. What else more does Eddie Jones need to do?
Well, he needs to calm down number 34. I mean, that's basically it. I mean, you got a guy that's beating his gums at you all the time. You got to prove that you're on the planet. Sabonis.
Oh, Sabonis, sweet touch on the hook shot. Fake right, come back with a hook. He has 4 points.
I mean, the same it goes for Arvydas Sabonis. He's got to be able to play and deal on an emotional level with Shaquille O'Neal. If you don't, you lose the game anyway.
Shaq threw a dangerous pass. Stoudemire tried to pick it off, but was on the baseline.
Mike Dunleavy telling us before the game that the defensive strategy to come quickly and early with big guys against Shaq. The little guys double-teaming Shaq have absolutely no impact.
Rick Fox.
Right now, Portland giving up too many easy things in the paint. They've got to shut that down. The only guy that's going to be scoring in there, should be scoring there, is O'Neal.
Ryder, first shot of the game, finds the net. Shaq jumped out at him. Isaiah hit it anyway. First basket.
I think he looked over at Bill.
Eddie Jones, again, aggressive play. Takes it to the basket, and that could be a quick 2 on Sabonis.
Sabonis sets a screen. That screen forces Shaq, not the strength of his game, to come out. Ryder will knock that shot down, but Eddie Jones is going right back at Isaiah Ryder, and now Sabonis with 2 fouls. And again, this horrible trend for Portland continues, and Mike Dunleavy has to counter with 39-year-old Alton Lister.
Well, Sabonis is looking at the official and saying, I can't play. I need a break here, and Grant is saying, I'm sorry, big fella, you got to go out again. Portland needs to avoid that problem. Alton Lister in the ball game. Now, he will use all his fouls anyway, so.
Now, you say he's 39? I thought he had the same age as his uniform number. 53 on him.
As long as he's running better than I am, Alton's doing just fine. Sabonis would not be in foul trouble, Steve. Oh, nice ball movement by Wallace.
Touch pass by Wallace, but Grant can't finish it. Saved inbounds by Lister, but then picked off by Fox for the Lakers.
Rasheed Wallace has got Shaq down low. They're trying to get him the ball.
There it is. Double team quickly by Grant. Fox, open 3.
The Lakers look so much sharper at the beginning of this game. They know that this is a game they must win. They do not want to go at Portland after having split here.
Shaq is freelancing and gambling away from Alton Lister, so they're going to have to get something from him. Ryder again.
Isaiah's 2 for 2.
I'd like to go back to the point about Sabonis' 2 fouls. Both times he got called for fouls, it was because Isaiah Ryder did not play defense on Eddie Jones, and Sabonis had to rotate, and that made him pick up those fouls.
Lob for Shaq. Lister challenged him, and Shaq missed it. Got his own. Can't score. Brian Grant rips down the rebound.
Now, the Trailblazers are a running team, and they've got to try to make sure that they get something easy. Stoudemire inside, lost control.
Fisher 1-on-2.
Great tip out, Eddie Jones.
Tapped in by Fox.
Del Harris before the game talking with extreme pride about the Lakers' great defensive improvement. It is really dominant right now, stifling against the Blazers.
Stoudemire nearly lost his footing. Lister short. Horry can't handle it. Fisher made a pass at it, but it'll be Portland ball.
Was the shot clock expiring here? Watch this tip out here by Eddie Jones here. Beautiful. And then the push of the ball. Fisher to the hoop. Just get it up and over. Offensive runners will always be there to tip. Just don't ever get that shot blocked.
Lakers with 5 points off their fast break.
Now, Ryder again down in the low post. He's going to pick up a foul on a switch against Derek Fisher. He's the guy that gives Portland a low post presence on a consistent basis. So Dunleavy's going to try to run him into the post as much as he can and make the Laker defense react.
Now, Steve, you do a lot of Trailblazer games. How much are we going to be able to see Stoudemire able to penetrate and create some mismatches in the lane?
He'll do it a lot, and it's just a question of getting the ball, pushing the tempo. He's still learning where players like the ball, but Portland is in this game, and that's where they want to be. They don't want the Lakers to get up by 10, 12 here early because then it's going to be a tough uphill climb.
Fox misses a 3, and then it's tapped out of bounds by Lister with Ryder right next to him. Sputtering start for the Portland Trailblazers, who need a win to get even. Timeout with the Lakers up 13-8. Okay.
You got
two protagonists all even today, Isaiah Ryder and Eddie Jones, 4 points apiece. The Portland Trailblazers very outspoken in their days leading up to this series with the Lakers, and the loudest of all was Isaiah Ryder about his matchup with Eddie Jones.
It's personal. I mean, it's very personal between us, I think. I mean, I don't think it's anything. We don't try to start fights with one another or whatever. We play hard, but I want to beat him. He wants to beat me, and I'm trying to outshine him. And he's on the All-Star team, whatever. But I have better numbers every year, so it's time to shut people up and make people realize, don't worry about what you read or what you heard. I can play.
Well, Bill Walton, that comment was directed right at you, and he is saying from one misunderstood athlete to another, I got game. Leave me alone.
When Isaiah Ryder realizes that this is not about statistics, that this is not about going 1-on-3, that this is not about trying to put up numbers, but it's about impact, it's about winning games, it's about teamwork, it's about leadership, then he can call himself a good basketball player.
Now, wait a minute. Are you saying that Bill was misunderstood as a player?
Oh!
Well, that implies that he's understood now.
I miss you guys.
Portland's got to get Wallace into the game at the offensive end. He's got a mismatch against Fox or Ori, and they want to try to get him down low, but they come back to the right or low post. Shot clock at 5.
And it's Lister again that winds up taking the shot, and it's about as ugly as they get.
That is just great Laker defense. I don't know why they didn't reset the shot clock. The ball clearly hit the rim.
It did, and they're going to stop play now to do just that, I believe.
Steve, Rasheed Wallace and Damon Stoudemire are the best offensive weapons on this team. You see Lister's playoff experience, but Brian Grant kept that ball alive for the Blazers. Unless Wallace and Stoudemire get something going offensively and learn how to turn statistics into impact, then it's going to be a very long afternoon and a short series.
Well, let me see here. We got a 5-point game, and most of the time if it's that close, statistics count.
They did put 22 seconds back on the shot clock as Grant from Ryder with the reverse.
Beautiful play by Brian Grant, who's just the workhorse, the physical presence inside that the Blazers desperately need.
Shaq double team, didn't matter. Wear your hard hat today.
What the Lakers try to do is get the ball out of Stoudemire's hands, slow Portland up so that they get them into a more controllable, predictable half-court set. Ryder stole it.
Ori got a hand on it. 2-on-1 break. Ori lost it as he was fouled by Stoudemire, I believe.
Technical foul.
Mike Dunleavy is down here arguing on this foul call. The ball stripped by Robert Ori, just the real glue-type, grease-type player for the Lakers, who's able to take the ball all the way to the hoop and earn a trip to the foul line after Eddie Jones shoots the technical on Dunleavy.
And the chant of Eddie, Eddie, as Eddie Jones misses the free throw. So Dunleavy is in a familiar spot, having that T put in his face. He and Jerry Sloan leading the league in technical fouls.
You got Eddie Jones having a tough afternoon at the free throw line. He's missed 3 early. Dunleavy sometimes tries to take the pressure off of his players by jumping out and jumping on the officials early, but he's also got to stay in the ball game. This is an emotional coach with an emotional team and a huge moment for them. They've got to figure out a way, if they're to win this series, how to win on the road against the Lakers.
Robert Ori at the line for 2. Del Harris has had to defend this young player all season long. His numbers are not glorious.
You been after him?
No.
He defend. I mean, you must be after him.
Robert Ori is one of my favorite players. With me, a lot of an ex-Blazer teammate of mine, Bob Gross. Ori this year was 9th in the NBA in steal to turnover ratio. He's increased his rebound per game average by 3, which is the 3rd best increase in the league this year. The other 2 guys ahead of him were second-year players, Steve. So you would assume their numbers would come up. Robert Ori, just an incredibly valuable performer for a championship team.
7-point Laker lead. The margin of difference, the fast break points.
Are the Bulls the champions? I have to think about that.
Well, Ori's got a couple championship rings.
Lister has been a disaster since coming into the game, and again points up how important those 2 quick fouls were on Sabonis.
Well, and also the Trailblazers got to think this has got to be our last offensive option, not our first. I mean, he's going to be available because the Lakers don't believe he can make shots.
You see what the Lakers are doing, though. They're trapping everybody out front, making Lister the only guy who's still open. Good footwork by Rasheed Wallace defensively.
Recycle the 24. And Kelvin Cato will make his first appearance in the lineup as Lister sits down. Cato, 6'11" rookie from Iowa State, who felt the wrath of Shaq in game 1.
But I like Cato's game. He's a good physical, willing combatant inside.
He's got tremendous shot blocking ability. Got a piece of that Rick Fox drive, and they'll get it back. Very quick off of his feet, and a great deal of self-confidence. He believes if there's a ball in the air, shot by anyone, he can get to it, and very quickly slaps Fox back.
The double block there by the Blazers.
Eddie Jones off a screen. And Eddie has a half dozen points. Lakers up 9.
Eddie Jones not being sucked in, not being baited by the weirdness of the statements by Isaiah Ryder. Just answering with his quiet yet proficient game.
There's Robert Horry again, deflecting the pass and then taking the save from Jones.
Defensively, the Lakers have been one beat quicker than the Trailblazers. Portland's now got to get their defensive energy up. Fox right at the rim for 2.
Lakers opening up an 11-point lead. They forced Portland into 6 turnovers while not committing a miscue themselves. Timeout, 4:19 left in an opening quarter, a quarter that has belonged to the defense of the Lakers. They're in the midst of an 8-0 run on the Trailblazers. Here's the latest, Rick Fox.
Bill and Snap.
Hello, Jim. Hello, Emmy Award-winning Jim Gray.
Mike Dunleavy told his guys, you're turning the ball over way too much. You're not even giving yourselves a chance to defend them because they're off to the races after the turnovers. And the other thing that he's telling them is you're not fighting at all. You guys are just not coming out with any of the scrap that you had the other night.
Thank you, Emmy Award-winning Jim Gray.
All right, 50 greatest.
For the Lakers, number 9, Nick Van Exel.
Lakers quickly out of the gate today, leading Portland 21-10. Mike Dunleavy, who is very familiar with action here at the Forum from his days as Laker coach, has seen his old team go on a 13-4 run since his center picked up 2 quick early fouls.
Jumping in the air to pass, it's very difficult to accomplish that. Emmy Award-winning Jim Gray told us from the Portland huddle. Dunleavy used to coach Milwaukee over there, but he was complaining, Dunleavy, to his players that they weren't playing a physical enough game, and they were turning the ball over far too many times and whining to the refs rather than getting back defensively.
Up against the shot clock, Stoudemire lofts one in.
That's a big hoop for the Trailblazers. They need to calm down, see the ball go in the hole, see if they can pick up their defensive pep, because that's where they're a little flat right now. The Lakers being able to move ball and people very freely.
12-0, points off turnovers. Horry, back rim into the arms of Brian Grant. Ryder faked the 3, got Jones to bite, and then stepped up and looks right at Jones as he goes back down court. Isaiah 3 for 3 to open the game. Pulls the Blazers within 7.
The Lakers are the kind of team that will let you back in a game, but you've got to have some presence about yourself in order to be able to take advantage of it. Right now, O'Neal has not been part of this first quarter dominance by the Lakers.
Horry's pass deflected out of bounds. 3 to shoot.
Watch Shaq on the quick spin.
Van Exel missed his first shot, but an offensive rebound for Shaq. Gets it right back from Fox. Triple teamed and fouled.
A scowling Wallace is upset for two reasons. One, he thought he was going to be able to get that rebound, missed, didn't get it, and then reaching in against O'Neal, gets called for the foul. He thought he got all ball.
Steve, when you come with three guys to triple team, that's a big mistake. And that's going to leave guys wide open. Shaq is too good a passer, too willing a passer.
I think you have to gamble, and you have to mix it up. And sometimes you will hit him with 2 or 3, and you got to try to make sure that the Lakers become a little flat-footed. Today they've been cutting to the basket, where now Shaq's pass becomes more effective. If he's just throwing it back out against the defense, they'll have a chance to reset. Lakers are not the greatest three-point or perimeter team in the league.
Or free throw shooting team. They're 6 for 10 to open the game, and
We'll make the call. You the one to
now 7 for 11, and Portland has yet to attempt a free throw.
A big deal if they miss free throws, Tom, because you got Sabonis out of the game. Not a factor at all, and Lister and Cato can't play at that level.
Free throws on point.
Meanwhile, Kobe Bryant making his first appearance, having, as Jim Gray reported earlier, erased the ghosts of last year's playoff debacle, his air balls in Utah, with 15 points in Game 1. That was the first basket for Kelvin Cato. Here's Kobe against Ryder.
Kobe Bryant has really come alive the last 5 games. Been doing it on both ends of the court. He's been shooting a phenomenal field goal percentage. He's been the team's second leading shot blocker. Now he's matched up on Ryder.
Ryder is not as angry with Kobe Bryant as he's Eddie Jones. But he did hurt Eddie Jones in game number 1 as well. A physical matchup in which Ryder feels he has an advantage, and Bryant has got quickness and jumping ability at the other end.
Nice pass.
Shaq to Ori, who can't get the roll, but will shoot free throws.
Shaq. A beautiful pass by Shaquille, who goes to the bench. Shaq does. Kobe along the baseline, just taking Isaiah Ryder to school with the fadeaway jumper. And then Shaq, he sees Ori down the lane. He spins, he comes away from the double team, and he's releasing the ball before he ever picked up Robert Ori in his vision again. Marvelous passing by Shaquille O'Neal.
Ryder committing his first foul, putting Ori at the stripe.
Free throws and layups. That's what's been hurting the Trailblazers in the first quarter of play. And down by 9 with 1:50 to go. They've got to make a correction, not only in the final 150, but at the start of the second quarter in order to get back in this game, because you cannot let the Lakers have layups. That is the strength of that team.
Walt Williams into the game for the Blazers, who gave them a lift in Game 1 with 14 points on 4 of 5 shooting.
Walt Williams, a terrific player in all aspects of the game. I think he's going to have to be huge throughout the series if Portland is going to be able to stay competitive.
Ryder.
A double Ryder ball goes off the leg of Kobe Bryant. Portland with 8 on the shot clock.
The problem that the Blazers are having is that they're not getting anything going to the hoop. Shaq is dominating that area. Help from Robert Ori. Rasheed Wallace is not posting up. 8 on the shot clock here.
Well, Shaq's out of the ball game. Williams goes for 3 as Eldon Campbell mans the middle.
Walt Williams continues his hot shooting from Game 1 when he missed only 1 3-point attempt. As Van Exel directs the Laker attack, Eldon Campbell has replaced Shaq. Entry pass stolen momentarily, but back to Fox, who hits a 3.
Rick Fox is playing on a very sore right foot. The bottom of that foot is just burning and killing him. He's determined to be aggressive and play right through it.
He ought to go for that hot foot every week. He's 5 of 7 that does points.
And he's got 12. He's killing the Trailblazers, so you're going to get a foul and a quick one against Eldon Campbell. But Fox has been a thorn in the side of the Trailblazers in the first quarter, being available for the open shot, driving the ball to the basket. So he's aggressive and on the money. Now you got to get him out of the game.
And still the Blazers cannot get to the foul line. Finally, though, the next foul by the Lakers will put them in the penalty.
Wallace hit the open jump shot after Ori had gone for the steal.
There's a guy Portland's got to find a way to consistently keep in the offense. He's their most efficient offensive threat on the front line. Needs to take more shots this afternoon against the Lakers.
Wallace averaged nearly 20 points against the Lakers in the playoffs last season.
Foul on number 31.
Eldon Campbell taking over where Shaq left off. Lakers really stick with their plan all the time. Eldon, when given minutes, has always produced for Del Harris. Shaq and Eldon Campbell played 16 minutes together in Friday night's game 1.
That foul on Kelvin Cato, and coming up, the 15th free throw of the first half for the Lakers. While Portland has not yet attempted a free throw. 37 seconds left opening quarter. So in the first quarter alone, the Lakers have shot 15 free throws.
And game 1, the Lakers shot 43 free throws. So they have been the aggressor in taking the ball to the rim. Portland's got to stay out of the penalty as well. We'll find out whether the lights are on at Eldon Campbell's house this afternoon. He was playing terrific in game 1.
In game 1, a total between both teams of fouls and turnovers right at 100. That's a rough, physical, and sometimes sloppy game.
Wallace misses the open jump shot, and the Lakers holding for the final shot of the first quarter.
Or he's coaching out there trying to get everybody away from Van Exel. 9 on the shot clock as he goes to work.
Van Exel for 3. And rebounded by Wallace. Blazers can't get a shot before the quarter ends. Lakers dominating the first quarter of play. Rick Fox with 12 points in the first. Couple of rebounds to boot. And the Laker defense very strong as they lead the Blazers 29-21 after the first quarter. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Στην συναρπαστική Premiership, η ελπίδα πεθαίνει πάντα τελευταία. Crystal Palace, Manchester United. Ένα βήμα πριν από το κρεμό, η ουραγός Crystal Palace κυνηγάει το θαύμα, όπως και η δεύτερη της βαθμολογίας Manchester, που βλέπει τον τίτλο να απομακρύνεται. Crystal Palace, Manchester United. Την Δευτέρα το βράδυ, αποκλειστικά στο Supersport. Ο αγώνας είναι χορηγία του Προπό και του Προπογκόλ.
Drexler outside, Maloney, Johnson at the buzzer! Stay back, up it comes to Chandler, almost overthrown, Chandler, long shot up! 4 on the shot clock now, keeps it on the dribble, Russell's there, here he is, pull up 18-footer, yes! And the buzzer! This place is going crazy! Nothing like the place!
Tom Hammond, Bill Walton, Steve Jones, Jim Gray ready to start the second quarter with Shaq and the Lakers leading the Trailblazers 29-21. Turnover is a big factor in that first quarter. The Lakers, without committing a turnover, forced Portland into 6 and scored on every one of those turnovers.
And the Blazers did not get a single fast break point as the Lakers got 7 there. And Rasheed Wallace and Stoudemire, the 2 best players, they each only have 2 points. So that's a tough first quarter for Mike Dunleavy.
Shaq is back, and so is Sabonis as Shaq misses.
Where Portland's got to pick it up is in transition and the defensive end. Stoudemire for 3. Can't catch.
Campbell and Wallace scrapping for the rebound, and Wallace commits the foul.
But Steve, Del Harris told us in our meeting with him that he said our transition defense has got to be super sharp today, and it has been as the Blazers have not been able to run out. The Lakers are cutting off the outlets, they're cutting off the passing angles, and they're hustling back on defense.
No score, second quarter, 29-21 Lakers. Campbell managed to flip it out to Kobe Bryant. 7 to shoot. Tough shot by Bryant and partially blocked by Stacey Augmon.
Defensive specialist Augmon. That's the kind of shot that Del Harris. Oh, nice jumper by Stoudemire there. The Kobe Bryant shot. That's the kind that everybody would wish he would just pass it off one time.
Bryant looking for Shaq. Help defense result in another foul. This time,
a lot of people putting their hands up, and Walt Williams will get that foul, but Stacey Augmon realizing Sabonis has got 2, Wallace has got 2, I got none.
Shaq with his 6 points. NBA.com provides the inside story from the locker room of some of the league's best teams. Send a question to the NBA.commentators. Chicago's Steve Kerr, Seattle's Sam Perkins, Miami's P.J. Brown, and Utah's Jacques Vaughn. They'll respond to your questions at NBA.com.
One thing Portland can't afford to do is give up second opportunities after they miss a free throw. They corral that rebound.
Del Harris cannot believe that a foul was not called on Sabonis there, which would have been his 3rd.
Stoudemire short with that.
On the floor, picked up by Jones. He whips it to Van Exel.
Van Exel very quick to the ball today, but he gets rejected there.
Walt Williams with a block.
Portland may be better in an up-and-down game with Shaq and Campbell in because they can beat them down the floor. Shaq's a very good runner for a center and has an edge over Sabonis. Williams.
4-3. Glances off the rim. It'll go to the Lakers.
Terrific defense by the Blazers here. Walt Williams using his size, using his athletic ability and his sense and timing to just strip the ball even after he got faked out of his shoes.
Wasn't too good a fake. He was able to come back and block the shot.
That's when it helps to be a little bit bigger.
Eldon Campbell, low post against Wallace. Bryant. Eddie Jones for 3. Nice ball movement by the Lakers. That's a trifecta.
Now that is what Kobe Bryant needs to get to every single time he gets in the lane, because you know the shot blockers are coming for him. And everybody has to rotate on, and Eddie Jones will knock down that three-pointer.
Stoudemire caught it in midair and shot it before he came down. And he's had the hot hand lately now with 6 points. He's hit 3 of his last 4.
That's the kind of team basketball the Blazers need. Rasheed Wallace, North Carolina, great background. He can make that play time and time again from the high post.
Stoudemire also with 5 assists here to going. Kobe.
I think where Kobe is most effective is when he is facing you, because he's got that devastating crossover move, and that time he had Augmon off balance, rose up and knocked one down from 15 feet.
Sabonis caught it deep, reversed it through on Shaq.
Beautiful play by Sabonis. Rarely turns that way towards the baseline. That leg just is not good enough for Sabonis anymore.
Well, he can't afford to reach in on Shaq. That time he's able to get the ball away from him.
And a traveling call on Stoudemire's Van Exel. Didn't give him enough room to turn around, it didn't appear. But what about Rasheed Wallace? He rejected the big man, but Kobe Bryant, good first half again for the Lakers. And Sabonis, working on Shaq here, goes to the reverse after a baseline drive.
Let's ride. Available in stores.
You got the... And with the Lakers leading the Blazers by 8, let's check in with Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Well, during the Lakers huddle right there, Daryl Harris was talking to his troops. He said, hey, guys, I really like the ball movement. You're getting good shots. kind of looked around. He said, by the way, don't forget Shaq. Shaq kind of smiled and gave him the thumbs up. Tom?
How can you forget about Shaq out there? But with the team playing a fast-breaking game here, the defense pushing out, Shaq's not going to get a lot of opportunities, and that's all right, but just take advantage in any set offensive situation, which they're in right now.
Eddie Jones missed the layup. Eldon Campbell's follow results in a foul.
This is what is hurting the Trailblazers. It is the fouls and the second opportunities. You look at the first quarter, and you would have had a sense and feeling that the Blazers were being overwhelmed. They weren't making shots. And you look at the stats, it tells you the Trailblazers shot 58% in the first quarter to the Lakers' 50. Ryder picks up the second personal foul.
Eldon Campbell misses the 18th free throw of the first half by the Lakers. Later on Dateline, Jerry Springer. You know the show. You've heard the stories about the fights being staged. Now he's fighting back his side of the story. Dateline tonight on NBC.
Eldon Campbell gets 1 of 2, but the margin on the scoreboard is 9, and the Lakers have had far more attempts and makes than the Trailblazers, and that's the difference in the lead.
The Blazers haven't even been to the free throw line yet. Finally here.
Sabonis will, fouled by Shaq.
Lakers are 11 for 19 already from the line. The Blazers are attempting their first. Sabonis, though, on the move, basically limited to going right here all the time because of the leg problems that have been accumulated over the course of his fabulous career. Time I saw Sabonis for the first time when he was just 19 years old.
Well, he has been a fabulous international player for the Soviets and later for his native country, Lithuania. You see the disparity in free throws.
When I saw Sabonis for the first time, the first game, it was the European Championship game in Germany held, and he had 30 points and 20 rebounds at the half. And he was a 7-3 version of Larry Bird. And just a phenomenal player who just had those legs give out on him.
And has 3 Olympic medals to his credit, a gold from Seoul and bronzes from Barcelona and Atlanta. Here's the outlet to Stoudemire.
No need for Kobe Bryant to double clutch that play. Oh, Walt Williams.
More and more teams do this. They fast break to shoot a 3. Portland had Ryder underneath the hoop. Walt Williams, who's got the hot hand, drains one. Portland down 4.
Williams 2 of 3 from three-point range.
Blazers have certainly played better with Walt Williams in the lineup.
Shaq.
This is a tough call here. Sabonis is not going to be happy with this. He got bruised real good on the way to the basket, and Dunleavy is reacting, but that's a third personal foul against Sabonis. This has been the problem that Sabonis has had since the very first time they ever played in Orlando when Shaquille O'Neal was still with the Magic. He just came in, overpowered him, smacks him with a little pork chop right there. Now he's going to get to go to the line.
A little pork chop.
That's the elbow that got Karl Malone suspended for a game when he took David Robinson down and out. And that's the argument that Sabonis and Mike Dunleavy will make. Unfortunately, Sabonis has to sit this one out. Probably won't see him again in the first half.
Portland just starting to make a charge, and now they got 7:19 to go with Sabonis on the bench. They're going to have to find another way to keep a body on O'Neal.
Kelvin Cato takes up the task, and Shaq misses with a shot over Cato.
See, it seems like that the teams that play against Shaq don't spend enough time in preparation, guarding him before he establishes position. They try to push him off the box. That's a great move by Kelvin Cato inside.
Cato made the good head fake, and Shaq fouled him. But everything going the Lakers' way early. Los Angeles up by 4. Lakers leading by 4. There were some familiar faces present in the 77 NBA Finals. Leading the Portland Trailblazers, Bill Walton, their lone world championship. Bill Walton with decent wheels for a change. One of the guards on the 76ers, now Portland coach Mike Dunleavy with hair. And announcing the series 1 year out of retirement, nice suit, Steve Snapper Jones, who sold ice cream at intermission.
That was a great series. Mike Dunleavy was absolutely phenomenal. They waxed us one day, and Jack Ramsey came in the locker room, and Mike Dunleavy had killed us for 32. And Jack Ramsey said, "You guys let Mike Dunleavy beat you. They got Dr. J and George B. You let Mike Dunleavy beat you."
And what about that suit? Can we see that suit one more time? Steve's suit was a thing. Look at that.
Don't you understand? The man in the white suit, that was a move. Portland.
Nice, Steve. Nice.
Kelvin Cato back at the line after getting Shaquille O'Neal into a second foul. O'Neal has got 2 fouls, so if Portland can draw another, they would see him go to the bench. Now, you posed a question about practicing against Shaq before he gets down in the paint. How do you practice against an earth mover? I mean, nobody else is going to a front loader like this, so you can't get ready for this guy.
But you have to use footwork and position and leverage to deny him his initial position and then not get backdoored. Cato, fierce.
No basket. Jones called for the offensive foul.
I don't care how much footwork and leverage you got. This guy is 330 pounds of sluggo.
At least you got to give it a try. Nothing else seems to be working. Shaq, Cato tries to deny him the position, but Shaq is the greatest player I've ever seen at that spin, that drop pass to catch that lob, and he can certainly throw it down.
Meanwhile, the Blazers have inched within 3 with the ball. Gary Grant came up short, followed by Brian Grant is there, and suddenly it's a 1-point game.
Now, both Grants, and they're not brothers, they were just coming with so much intensity. Again, the passing by Shaquille has been marvelous, or he can't hold on.
Well, the Trailblazers picked up their defensive energy. They started to make some hoops. The Lakers, as they've been doing all year long, will allow an opponent to get back in the game. They stopped with their defensive energy, and Portland's been able to get back in at 1-point game.
2 straight turnovers by the Lakers, and the Trailblazers on an 8-0 run. How about the Knicks beating the Heat in Miami? Oh, what a shot! Counted and one.
Beautiful drive by the great Walt Williams.
He got to be great all of a sudden.
I've loved Walt Williams ever since I've seen him play back for Maryland.
A little show and tell right there by the Wizard. He went up, brought it back down. Trailblazers need to see Walt Williams do more of this, penetrate and try to break down the defense. Terrific effort. Now a chance for Portland to go up by 2.
See, Walt Williams was a guy who didn't play a lot of basketball growing up in the Washington, D.C. area. Came onto the national scene, though, when he played at the 5-star camp in Pennsylvania. And Walt Williams handed Alonzo Mourning the only defeat that Alonzo had as a kid there playing 5-star basketball.
Van Exel. Portland with the ball. They've scored 11 straight, and Shaq has picked up his 3rd foul. Like Sabonis, he goes to the bench. Cato and 1.
What a complete turnaround in this game. Brought about when Walt Williams came in and started stroking jumpers, started driving to the hoop, and now Gary Grant finding Cato down low. Hard to see how that's not a traveling violation as he shuffles his feet to get going, but
the thing that Portland has done is begin to compete. You can't let the Lakers just run through you. And you've seen the Lakers get terrific starts against other teams, and if you just roll over, they'll continue to run through you. Portland has made a stand. They're back in the ball game, up by 5.
14 straight points for the Blazers. Timeout, Lakers. So the Trailblazers not only have taken the lead with a 14-0 run, they put Shaq on the bench with 3 fouls. Suddenly, Portland running things.
Will Leonardo O'Brien please report to the upstairs press room? Leonardo O'Brien. Please report to the upstairs restroom.
All right, Hannah, thank you very much. It is indeed a 5-point Blazer lead thanks to 7 of 11 shooting, 64% of this quarter, while the Lakers only 2 of 12, 17%.
And Portland's been able to keep the Lakers from getting to the free throw line. They're not scoring the ball from the field. Eldon Campbell short with that.
But it's been Kelvin Cato, it's been Walt Williams, and it's been Brian Grant who has established a physical presence for this Blazer team. Horry trying to force the backcourt violation.
Stoudemire tightroping along the...
What a great pass that Brian Grant was just a little bit too late to get to.
You're not.
Was it a great pass?
You're not going to say that it went out of bounds.
Tom, the Blazers, that was their first turnover in a long time. First one in the last 6 minutes. If the guy doesn't move to catch a pass, what can you do?
Eddie Jones going against Ryder.
And going to the hoop, breaking the Portland run, 11 points for Eddie Jones.
Eddie Jones is not the focal point of the Laker offense the way that Isaiah Ryder is. So it's tough for him in this individual matchup that Ryder keeps barking about. Eddie's just playing his normal team game.
Stoudemire. Nice move by Damon, who has 8 points.
One thing you overlook is when someone is lighting you up, you want to light back. And Eddie Jones this afternoon has come back with a little fire of his own. So now Ryder's going to have to counter, looking inside to Eldon Campbell.
But you have to look at the scoreboard, Steve. You have to look at the standings, and that's where Eddie Jones is supreme.
Portland cannot win without Ryder scoring big time, particularly against the Lakers.
Cato fouls Eldon Campbell as Derek Fisher and Kobe Bryant return for the Lakers. Brian Exel, going out of the game, had 12 minutes of play, missed all 4 of his shots, no points, no assists.
And Fox, who had 12 in that first quarter, hasn't scored in the second. He also retreats to the bench. As they're going to try to come with a little bit more defensive energy, which is what got them control of that first quarter of play. Campbell gets the first.
Talked about the Trailblazer turnovers. They had 7 in the first 13 minutes of the ball game. They just had 1 on that errant pass as Rasheed Wallace trying to get to the game in the last 7 minutes. And that really helped them as they made this fabulous run here to take control here at the Forum.
Williams missed it on the reverse after blowing by the defense, and Fisher pushes it for the Lakers. Portland got back. The trailer Campbell.
Yeah, it's the second time a big man for the Lakers has been able to go all the way down the floor and get a hoop, and you got to step in front of those guys because they can't change direction.
Ryder for 3. Rebounded by Stoudemire. Ryder's first miss today on that shot. Stoudemire gets it again.
The Lakers are not rebounding on the defensive end. Bill Harris said that was their #1 priority. This Blazer team is a phenomenal rebounding team, Steve, and has been so throughout the history of the franchise.
Portland calls for a timeout with 3:11 remaining in the second quarter. Portland using hot shooting in the second to take the lead, but they're up by only 1 on LA.
It's close. What you think? Fred! Time out. Lee, we got a trap. I won't say another word. No! One more time. Yeah, go! What I'm talking about. We love it. Defense. How old are you?
1-point game in Tinseltown, and the Stars are out for the playoffs. Jim Belushi is here. Of course, the regular, Jack Nicholson. Baseball great Frank Robinson. Gary Shandling. That's Dennis Miller. And Diane Cannon, who's a regular with the great Magic Johnson.
Had a wonderful talk with Magic just before the game today, Tom, and he's getting ready to start his talk show. He's just doing absolutely great. He's just beaming in terrific health, and he is on cloud nine as his life is just doing marvelous out there. Our congratulations to Magic.
Now Damon Stoudemire will get a foul. That is the Laker 15th foul, so Portland will be in the penalty for the final 3:07. Lakers are already there against the Trailblazers, so maybe we'll see a lot of free throw shot down the stretch of the first half. But that's been the difference for the Lakers staying in the ball game because they've gone cold here in the second quarter.
See, how about though the defensive improvement by the Trailblazers, which has allowed them to get some fast break opportunities. Blazers have got 5 fast break points here in the second after not getting a single one. And then there's a foul. That's not a foul. That's a great block shot.
There's the fast break point situation as Portland has turned it around in the second quarter.
They force the penetrating guard to the baseline, which is terrific strategy. No passing angles there. And that's just very difficult to see any foul there.
If there was any contact, it was initiated by Fisher.
Cato, I think, has a chance to become a real factor in this league for years to come.
Cato's down, and Rasheed Wallace back in the ball game. Fisher gets both the free throws, and it's a 1-point ball game foul.
45-44. Portland. Damon Stoudemire doing a good job here in the second quarter. That pass partially deflected. Now Ryder draws the double team. Finds Williams in the corner for 3. Beautiful pass from Ryder. Skipped it across court, and Williams nails the 3. Walt Williams 3 of 4 from the arc.
Walt Williams, since coming in the ball game, has really given the Trailblazers a shot in the arm. He's got 8 in the quarter. Campbell.
Eldon Campbell with the fall away.
Eldon has held the team together here as the Lakers have been forced to play without Shaq. He's putting the numbers on the board. He's not the passer that Shaq is. He's not the impact player, but he can certainly hold you above water till Big Shaq comes back.
Campbell called for that foul, bumping Ryder out of bounds.
Little hesitation. Campbell came over, did what most big guys do. They like to slide that hip rather than move their feet. Now you see, there's that hip, and I'll just open the door.
What big guys like to move their hip like that? Big guys slide their feet. They get in front. They get in the air and knock shots down.
Well, there's one thing that we know for sure. Ryder is used to being booed. So he gets a little taste of it at home.
Not only at home, on the road, but at home.
On the road. So this really kind of focuses him in, helps him concentrate. He gets 1 of 2.
Portland leads by 3.
The tempo certainly favors Portland right here. It's a half-court game. Stand around.
9 on the shot clock.
Campbell fouled by Brian Grant.
If we were to look at adjustments for the Trailblazers from the first quarter to the second, the Lakers were getting layups in that first quarter going to the free throw line. They have not been able to get inside, get a lot of layups to go in the basket. They've been able to stay in the game by virtue of the free throw line.
Steve, Brian Grant is the tough guy. He is the Maurice Lucas of this Portland Trailblazer team, the guy who's willing to get in there and mix it up. Where would the Trailblazers be without that fine young player?
10 points now for Eldon Campbell in his relief role of Shaquille O'Neal, who continues to sit with 3 fouls.
Trying to get Rasheed Wallace involved in the ball game. Hasn't had many cracks at it. Stoudemire.
Stoudemire hesitated after he had the open 3 and then swiped by Jones. Eddie Jones fouled by Williams. That foul will not count. Williams fouling Eddie Jones.
I think that's where Eddie Jones is most valuable to the Lakers, in that he is a terrific one-on-one defender, got great hands, and he gets in the pass zone, just reaches in, slaps this one away, and he's in a sprint. Walt Williams thinks he's got the angle.
That's a good block there, too. I thought Eddie should have passed that ball, just laid it right back for Kobe, come throwing it down on the trailer.
It started with his first free throw, and Eddie Jones has been off the entire ball game.
Don't forget, coming up next, Game 3 of our playoff triple header, as the surprising Nets face Michael Jordan and the defending champion Chicago Bulls in Game 2. Nets and Bulls in the nightcap coming up next. Overtime game in the first one, won by the Bulls.
Let's not forget, though, as the Lakers come with the trap here, that the Bulls play better as series go on. They always start slowly and then just keep building and building and stronger as it moves along.
Fisher for three.
Defensively, the Lakers have picked it up, and that's got the crowd into it as they got a three-point advantage.
Once again, defense leads to offense for the LA Lakers.
The Lakers have finally found their fast break game, Tom. They're up and down. The defense, Eddie Jones, Robert Horry, keeping balls alive, deflections, spot-up shooters, pushing to the hoop, getting to the foul line.
All that off a steal. Here it is again. Derek Fisher, the three-pointer. And the Lakers have regained the lead, 52-49. That's their 17th point off a turnover, and the Lakers have scored 6 in a row.
This has been a game of streaks, and it tells you that both teams have a similar personality, in that once they start doing something well, they relax. And Portland had a good rhythm going. They relaxed just a little bit. The energy of the Lakers picks up. They're back into the ball game with control of the scoreboard.
17 seconds on the shot clock. The Blazers can shoot at 40, which is about 12 seconds from now, and then get the last shot. And possession so important. Nice pass.
Stoudemire rejected by Campbell.
Now that was terrific offensive movement, but better defensive reaction from the big fly swatter and Eldon Campbell. They're right there at the basket, and Campbell swats it away.
That's the play you got to lay off to Brian Grant. Rasheed Wallace got a twisted ankle here.
5-second count. Blazers turn it over.
Now Wallace is grimacing and trying to walk it off, and may get a chance to walk it off, but he'll certainly get retaped at the break.
3 turnovers the last 50 seconds for Portland has cost them the lead.
But now the shot clock is clearly in favor of the Lakers.
Fisher strikes again. Fisher has scored 5 points in a row, and LA an 8-0 run.
Tom, we've seen a lot of little left-handed guards this weekend, and Avery Johnson and Derek Fisher have been the best. But Stoudemire answers.
Damon Stoudemire, tough three-point shot. 13 for Damon.
This is his second playoff game, and he certainly wants to make this one a more memorable one than the first. And he has been aggressive here in the quarter. 11 points in the quarter.
Lakers hold for the final shot of the half.
And Kobe's shooting it.
There it is. No, wipe it off. Horry's tap will not count.
A lot of Lakers standing around watching, waiting with spot-up shot opportunities. Kobe took his own.
Well, the Trailblazers once trailed by 11, but Ryder and company got it going in that head-to-head matchup with Eddie Jones. Jones outscoring Isaiah in the first half, and the Lakers with a narrow lead. At the end of the first half in Game 2, Los Angeles Lakers 54, Portland Trailblazers 52. Now stay tuned for the halftime report after these messages.
Welcome back to NBA action.
9.
Now, here's a look back at the top 10 plays of last season in our courtside countdown. Number 10, it's the New York Knicks, Charlie Ward and John Starks.
Elo's after it. He goes down. Stark falls on the floor. Skids. Got it. Pops up. Plants a three.
The Charlotte Hornets, Glenn Rice.
Rice is blocked by Weber. Rice throws it back up and scores. A one-handed tip in from the free throw line. How about that?
It's the Minnesota Timberwolves, Kevin Garnett.
Robinson. Oh, Garnett. Where did he come from? Oh, what a play. Lord, is he? Oh, my goodness.
It's Sixers guard Allen Iverson.
Allen shakes, Gray gets two. Take a look at the crossover. Mike said no. Allen said yes. The crowd loves it.
The Timberwolves, Chris Carr.
Chris goes up. Oh, my goodness. Slams it home. Chris Carr got away with one and just turned it over with a passion.
It's the Clippers, Brent Barry.
Brent Barry behind. Oh, you can see it coming.
Let's watch Barry's control in the open court, making a nice behind the back pass.
The Detroit Pistons, Grant Hill.
Allen Houston at the mercy of Grant Hill. Switches hands, count it.
The Phoenix Suns, Rex Chapman.
Chapman, long shot up. Oh,
His highlight rim field, get down, Rex Chapman.
It's the Bulls, Michael Jordan.
Michael. Oh, my. Get your highlight reels rolling. Number 23's in the house.
It's number 1 play, the Raptors, Doug Christie.
6'10". Oh! The referees are looking at each other, but no. Look at Doug Christie over the backboard.
At 10, it's the Lakers, Nick Van Exel.
Horry to Van Exel. Banked it in. Oh, what a top shot. He lost it. He managed to control it off the glass.
It's the Orlando Magic's Darrell Armstrong.
Darrell Armstrong. Penetration. Puts it up.
Wow. It's Mark Action Jackson of the Indiana Pacers.
Jackson will get the layup.
Chauncey Billups leads this fast break by the Boston Celtics.
Billups and Swan. Chauncey with a little behind the back dribble.
It's Derek Martin of the Los Angeles Clippers.
Oh, what a fake. Martin goes down to the baseline up with a high arching finger roll. It was absolutely beautiful. I can't take it away from him, man. That was a gorgeous shot.
Is the New Jersey Nets Jason Williams.
Jason Williams elevating and snapping it through to the down in front. Oh, what timing in pursuit.
At number 4, it's Kevin Garnett of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Terry Porter picks it up. Garnett's looking from behind. Yeah, he's going to get it and dunk it. And get fouled. Wow. What a play by Garnett.
It's Ike Austin of the Miami Heat.
Oh my! What a shot! Ike with the spin off the glass.
At number 2, it's the Clippers' Rodney Rogers.
He's not going to get it off, or does he? From backcourt. Off the way. Are they going to count it? Yes! Rodney Rogers with the three-pointer from midcourt at the buzzer.
It's Shaquille O'Neal of the LA Lakers.
Drive, stop, slam, dunk. Wow.
Well, he just made David Robinson a poster child.
The Minnesota Timberwolves, Stephon Marbury.
Marbury, a lane to the basket. Explosive move by Marbury.
It's Washington's Rod Strickland to Calvert Chaney.
What a pass to Chaney. Oh, my. Strickland with his 7th assist tonight, and that was a beauty.
It's Jalen Rose of the Indiana Pacers.
They throw down to Rose behind the back, lay it up, hit it, foul! What a great play by Indiana.
Once again, the Washington Wizards, Rod Strickland.
Rod going all the way. Scores! What a shot! And count the basket.
At number 6, the Suns' Antonio McDyess.
There's a rejection by McDyess. And here it comes, they reward him.
It's this game winner from the Trailblazers.
It goes to Kenny Anderson. Anderson on the drive all the way to the rack. He doesn't get it. Put back Rasheed Wallace. And the game's over. And the game is over.
It's John Wallace of the Toronto Raptors.
Nice little move there. Oh, no!
We are seeing everything in the filing cabinet today from John Wallace.
It's the LA Lakers, Eddie Jones.
He's got to get it off. Here it comes. On the way. 19 foot. Oh, what a play! Eddie Jones threw it back over his head and in. Listen to the crowd and then we'll tell you what happened.
It's a Laker once again. This time it's Rick Fox.
Fox fires from midcourt. And he made it! He made it for three. Can you believe that? Rick Fox threw a bullet up there. Line drive, and it went right through the net.
Number one play of the week comes from Sixers rookie Tim Thomas.
Thomas draws! Oh, slams for two! Holy cow! Getting the crowd on his feet. Take a look at Tim Thomas. Wow, does he get up here? Outlaw says, I'm going to take the charge. Outlaw says, no, I'm going to bail on out of here. Give the young fella a boost.
It's the Houston Rockets, Clyde Drexler.
Houston has a chance to beat the clock. Drexler does! Oh, do they love it here in Houston.
At number 9, it's Sixers guard Allen Iverson.
Behind the back, it's good from Stackhouse.
There's the flash of Allen Iverson.
It's a team confidence building play.
It's the Indiana Pacers, Mark Jackson to Rick Smith.
He leaves it for the trailer, the big fella slams it.
The Los Angeles Clippers, Rodney Rogers.
Spins into the lane, splits two, throws up a wild shot with a finger roll, and it's good. Oh, my is right with a scoop left hand.
Utah's Chris Morris beats the clock.
1 second from backcourt, he fires at the buzzer. And he makes it! He baked it in! Oh! Save it for the highlight film.
It's Boston Celtic rookie guard Chauncey Billups.
Oh, Chauncey! That's going to be a play of the game if we have a play of the game tonight.
It's the Lakers' Kobe Bryant.
Here's Kobe underneath. 360 turn in the air and spin it in. Magnificent. Oh, Kobe, you want highlight film again tonight on the news, huh?
The Chicago Bulls' Michael Jordan.
Watch out! Oh, baby! They came for that. This is beautiful.
He's behind the backboard.
Yes, he is.
Doesn't even look at the rim.
The Nets' Sam Cassell.
Sam.
What a play by Sam. Watch this play by Sam Cassell. Setting up that move for a look-good pass. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before. That's a highlight film. Oh.
Once again, it's Kobe Bryant.
Change of direction by Bryant. Slam dunk. Woo! You talk about elevation. Chick, he went up to the rafters before he decided to put somebody on a poster.
Wake us up, and we finished the half strong. We've got to pick it up from here. Defense and rebounding, that's what's going to win big games.
Dale, good luck in the second
half. All right,
half.
thank you, Jim.
For the Portland Trail Blazers, Rasheed Wallace twisted his left ankle. He will play in the second half. He says that he's feeling all right. Out to you, Tom. Defense doesn't like all of the good shots that the Trailblazers have gotten. As for Mike Dunleavy, he's happy with the pace. Says we're going to go at Shaq, try and keep him in foul trouble. And finally, Rasheed Wallace turned his right ankle at the at the end of the half. His right ankle. He says he's all right. He's going to continue. Tom.
All right, Jim. We start the third quarter. Lakers with the basketball, leading by 2.
The difference has been Portland's ability to score the ball from the field. 55% plus for the first half, but they haven't been able to keep the Lakers off the free throw line. And I'm sure that both coaches are saying to their teams, now is the time to make the free throw line the difference between winning and losing.
Steve, the Lakers lost their momentum when Shaq went to the bench. They didn't control the boards as the Blazers, always a great rebounding team, took care of that. And the bench was non-existent for the Lakers.
Robert Horry opens the second half scoring. And if you're just joining us, Shaq spent a lot of time on the bench with 3 fouls in the first half. And it is his Trailblazer opposite number, Arvydas Sabonis.
Trying to post Ryder. That's the way they started the ball game off. Nice pass. Grant finally gets control of it.
Then it's stripped into the arms of Wallace, and Rasheed Wallace, turned ankle and all, pounds it down for number 4.
Jay Jensen, the fine trainer for the Blazers, really getting Wallace back. He looked like he was limping badly.
Eddie Jones for 3.
Eddie Jones punishing Ryder off of screens, moving without the ball.
I guess he took it personal.
Everything is personal, Steve.
Well, Isaiah said it was personal. Fisher diving on the floor.
That is a great play by Derek Fisher. They're going to call a foul on Damon Stoudemire.
Now, this is when the official gets it right. Most of the time, players are used to getting away with this particular play, as Derek Fisher is in the face of Stoudemire, strips him of the ball. Now watch, right at the end, Stoudemire will give him just a little bit of an elbow.
I don't know about
that. On a second look, I think
that's not a foul.
Looked like a downfield block from Fisher.
You sound like a guard.
Rick Fox. Is that Sabonis? It'll be 4 if it is, or is it Wallace?
It's 11.
Number 11,
Sabonis again has not been fouling Shaq. He's been fouling the cutters, and that's number 4.
That is an incredibly cheap foul against Sabonis.
Hey, well, but if you're Sabonis, you got to start thinking. Give up a layup, be able to stay in the game. You can't help your team sitting on the bench. The frustration as he pulls the mouthpiece out and walks to the bench, but he has not been able to help his team because he's been in foul 7 minutes in the first half.
He's got 4 fouls and he's played less than 10 minutes in the game, Steve.
Not smart play, as you said. And Kelvin Cato actually played pretty well in the first half. Comes in to replace Sabonis.
Well, it was Cato, it was Walt Williams, it was Brian Grant, and when they were making their big 14-0 run there to get back in control of this game.
Grant made a couple of nice fakes to get open and then slammed it down.
Horry, normally an expert defensive player, now has a lot of freedom because Grant doesn't get a lot of offensive opportunities.
Illegal defense called on the Trailblazers.
The Trailblazers are finding people at the basket, and that's hurting the Laker defense. And a quick cut by Grant, and he's got 2 over the top.
Steve, a good sign for the Blazers here is that Stoudemire is finding a game right now. And he's starting to come up with some numbers, some assists, some control. When I talked to him about the game, I asked him about, what was it like in the playoff in your first game Friday night? He said, well, the intensity, the pressure was just incredible. I'm ready to go today, though.
Shaq is fouled. Legs and arms flying everywhere as Shaq is hammered. That illegal D call, by the way, first against Portland. That's why they got it out of bounds.
He looked over to see what truck hit him, and Brian Grant reaches in with both hands and makes sure that he doesn't get the ball up. And
that karate kick.
Yet another foul as foul trouble will plague the Blazers or any team that plays against Shaq. But when you look at Shaq at the free throw line right now, this is a great sign for the Blazers because here you are into the second half, and Shaq doesn't have any perspiration running off that big forehead and off those shoulders.
He's only 2 of 6 at the free throw line today.
But that lack of perspiration means that he's standing around, that he's not involved, that he's not tearing the basket down. And that's great news for Portland.
Fox deflects it away from Rasheed Wallace.
Now, Fox has great hands, and if you're playing offense against him, you've got to protect the ball. So that's something that Wallace is going to have to really focus on in the second half.
The matchup between 2 former Tar Heels.
6 on the shot clock.
Double dribble, didn't he? Grant missed it, and the Lakers have it.
He did, but no one.
So it's not a double dribble if no one catches it. I see.
We don't count.
Nice pass back out.
Horry made the ball fake and got the friendly roll.
Not enough players, Tom, use a fake pass to set up their own offense. They're always thinking fake shot to set up a pass. It's the other way around. Freezes the entire defense.
Illegal.
Illegal defense call against the Lakers.
At the top of the key, Robert Horry, who's a great swing man, will get the kick back out as Shaq loves to repost. And then that fake pass, the entire Blazer team rotates, and Horry's got that nice touch and ball handling skill capability from the free throw line.
Bad news for the Trailblazers with 8:50 to go. The Lakers don't have a team foul, so you know they're going to try to pick things up at their end of the floor. Portland, meanwhile, has 3 team fouls.
Ryder working his way around, and Fox called for the foul.
Rick Fox underneath, trying to ride Ryder off of the play against Eddie Jones.
Steve, Mike Dunleavy and the rest of the Blazers knew that because of Ryder's success from game 1 that the Lakers would come and double team a lot. And that's when Ryder's at his absolute worst, is when there's 2 and 3 guys guarding him, because he's going to keep shooting.
All the way over Eddie Jones, and a pretty one by Isaiah Ryder. That battle continues. Both shooting hot hands today. 9 points for Ryder, and Jones has 15. Both Jones and Ryder 4 of 5 shooting. Here's Jones for 3, and he got another one.
Well, I can tell you one thing about the body language of Eddie Jones. It's much better than it was on Friday night. He was backing up when he let that one go, so he knows he's seeing the basket well. He's perfect from deep.
But Eddie Jones' shoes are untied right now.
Leave him untied. He's making all those shots. Don't tell him.
Jones comes down hard.
Eddie had tried to tie his shoes on the defensive possession, but he knew they were coming. Eddie coming off again. The screen by Robert Horry. Horry doing the little things. And you have to know psychologically that Eddie Jones was sitting there steaming all weekend long about the comments by Ryder in the paper, knowing that the only recourse would be to answer on the court.
And they just teed up somebody.
Well, we don't know who he teed up. We don't know it was Rick Fox. We don't know it was Rasheed Wallace, but somebody got smacked.
Rasheed Wallace.
It is Wallace.
Rasheed Wallace has had a very tough afternoon.
These are the playoffs, and for a guy that did a great job a year ago of checking his emotions at the door, this is the biggest moment for him and the Trailblazers. He's got to keep his emotions under control. Eddie Jones has had a miserable afternoon from the line, and he misses another technical.
Steve, I think Rasheed Wallace is the Blazers' best all-around basketball player. They need him to be huge. This afternoon, he's got 23 minutes of action, just 2 for 4 shooting. 4 points and 2 rebounds only for Rasheed Wallace.
Fox spotted for the 3.
Look at Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal just throwing people out of the way. Dominating on the offensive backboard, and nothing that the Blazers can do.
There's an answering slam from Rasheed Wallace.
Now, that's something they can do. They just have to do more of that. And I think that technical fired up Wallace. Let's see if he can keep his energy up. Fox coming back at him.
Here's Shaq. Turned right into the double team help from Wallace, who had the ball, but the foul to boot. He just sprinted the length of the court, and he's lucky he didn't get a second tee.
I agree, Tom. That's not a way to show up. But Rasheed Wallace answering with a great slam and throwdown of his own, but to run away and to try to embarrass the referees in a situation that quite possibly the referee who was blocked out of position missed the call.
Well, he wasn't showing him up. I think he was running away from trouble. He just got a technical. And, you know, he was likely to say something. Grant picks up his 4th, and he goes to the bench. Team foul number 5 for the Trailblazers. The best news is Wallace now back in. And in the rebounding position is that the Lakers are missing free throws in bunches.
Shaq hits 1 of 2. He has 9 points in the game.
It did appear as if Wallace got a lot of Shaq's arm on that spin. I think that double team has to come quicker and not let Shaq be on the move as you're trying to close out.
Stoudemire, open 3. Rebounded by Jones. Shaq. Let him catch it there and forget about it.
You got to meet him at the foul line. The Blazers, as everybody else, they stand, they wait for him to get position, then they try to shove and push him off the box. That'll never happen. Mike Dunleavy desperately in need of a timeout.
The big fellow has scored the last 5 points for the Lakers. Shaq now with 11 for the game. Run for cover. Here comes Shaq. Lakers by 10.
Miller Genuine Draft presents even more basketball.
The most compelling matchup sometimes are the ones with the contrast in style, and Sabonis and O'Neal couldn't be more different, power and grace.
Sabonis has been plagued miserably by foul trouble in his whole career against Shaq, but he has had a couple of shining moments, but it has been Shaquille O'Neal while he's been able to play on the court. Rasheed Wallace with a nice step back right there, but Shaq is so relentless. His ability to build pressure on individuals and on teams, unsurpassed in the NBA. Today, Shaq has been limited a lot, but Sabonis virtually a non-factor in just 9 minutes.
And in honor of this look inside basketball, the Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund.
Wallace has got to look at the hoop at his end of the floor. He's got a matchup that he can take advantage of. Comes over the top of Robert Horry.
This is fired up now.
This is a lineup here that Dunleavy can really capitalize with.
Eddie Jones fouled by Ryder. That's 3 on Isaiah.
Eddie Jones has stayed active offensively, not trying to do everything off his own dribble. Keeps using those screens. Driving, just one dribble and get in the air. Eddie Jones finally gets a free throw to fall. That's 6 for 11 shooting from the line for Eddie. But he is 3 for 3 from behind the three-point line.
Oh, he'd have a huge afternoon if he were knocking down the free throws. He has been very aggressive. He's got 8 here in the quarter. It's a big afternoon as it stands. He's the leading scorer in the game at 20.
And good shooting by both teams.
Now, if you're Ryder, you got to start thinking about, well, I got to neutralize some of what he's done. We're going to get a foul against Eddie Jones. Difference is free throws. Blazers aren't going to get to shoot some for some time. Eddie Jones and the Lakers can take chances. They can be aggressive. That is just a second-team foul. Eddie Jones, third personal. You got Shaq out of the middle. When they have that situation, they're looking to drop the ball back to Wallace or Ryder down low.
Wallace gave it up, but
see, there I think is where Wallace makes a mistake. He's the better offensive player, and even though you have a cutter going to the basket, you're probably better with the Wallace shot. He just made 2 in a row.
Kelvin Cato, solid defensively at this point in his rookie season, but still has a long way to go with offensive fluidity.
Eddie Jones, baseline drive, threw it right to Cato.
Guards along the baseline, the worst place in the world to be.
And Fox stuffs Ryder. Isaiah didn't see him coming. Fox got his hand on top of the ball and nearly sprained his wrist.
Well, the fans all pumped up here. Emotional afternoon here. Laker fans trying to help Eddie Jones in whatever way possible, and Rick Fox doing his job.
Isaiah said, what is that? He tried to release it, it wouldn't go. He never saw Rick. Jump ball controlled by the Lakers. Fisher tried to dribble through defenders and is fouled.
Stoudemire picks up the personal. His second.
Steve, one thing that's hurt the Blazers is they haven't been able to keep Stoudemire involved. He had a couple of brief moments there in the second quarter. To start the third, he was solid, but they've gone away from him.
Well, the third quarter smells a lot like the first quarter in terms of the Lakers having control of it. Portland making some mistakes with the ball, getting to the free throw line, and able to control the game.
Tonight on NBC from Hallmark Entertainment, a motion picture event, Merlin. Critics are calling Merlin an instant classic. TV Guide says it's a spectacular delight. The NBC world premiere, Merlin, 9, 8 Central, NBC tonight.
Steve, another recurring theme to that first quarter is that Shaq is on the court. Remember, in the second quarter, he was plagued by the foul troubles, and that's when the Blazers made their big run to get back in contention.
And the Lakers have their biggest lead. Isaiah Ryder came out. Cato fouled by Horry.
Good effort on both ends. for the Trailblazers. Ryder on the post, it wouldn't stay, but Cato stays with it and is able to get the ball back up. Robert Horry will pick up the foul, but you can't get better position and a better shot if you're J.R. Ryder.
Did you see where Shaq was defensively on that play? He was way underneath the basket. As a shot blocker and as a rebounder, that's the last place you want to find yourself.
Well, I think Shaq is trying to avoid that fourth person. Unlike Sabonis, he's going to try to keep himself out of harm's way because he knows he's got to stay out on the floor. It's really important, and I think that's the lesson Sabonis has yet to learn.
But you know that dotted line for the charge, no charge call? As a defensive player, you don't ever want to be inside that yourself anyway. Shaq getting sucked way underneath the hoop.
Those were the first Portland free throws of the quarter. They've only shot 12 in the game to 38 for the Lakers, who are 6 of 11 in the third. Nice catch by Rick Fox.
Mike Dunleavy pleading for his defenders to see the ball on that slip pick there by Rick Fox.
They got to have some more pressure on the pass in order to do it. Now they got to find a guy with the hot hand turnover.
Stoudemire against Jones.
Good pass, Eddie Jones.
And the trailer Fox gives it up to Horry. Beautiful working of the basketball by the Lakers to get the good shot.
Dunleavy is skewing the timeout here, letting it play.
Skewing?
Where is that? Going without Steve. The defense by the Lakers on Isaiah Ryder has been marvelous. The long outlet right there, and then the passing, the spacing. Good teams practice the fast break time and time again, so you know what to do in decision-making opportunities.
Outside shot by Kelvin Cato.
Now, what Portland's got to, again, now they got to pick it up. They got to start going to Derek Fisher, not letting him walk the ball. Look, he's going to get right down about three-point line area and let the Lakers execute their offense, trying to drop it into Shaq. Turnover.
Picked up by Ryder. 2-on-2 break. Ryder flips it to Stoudemire, who missed the layup. Cato saves it. Ryder for three. And he'll shoot 3 free throws as he was decked by Eddie Jones.
Big play there. The Lakers see Eddie Jones come charging at Ryder. That is a 4th personal foul against the leading scorer for the Lakers this afternoon. And Ryder will go to the free throw line for 3.
You never want to foul jump shooter, Steve, and this is a huge problem as Eddie Jones goes to the bench.
Maybe a little too caught up in the emotion of his battle with Ryder.
Couldn't agree more, Tom. Sometimes you just, when your game is going as well as it has been for Eddie Jones, you just have to relax a little bit there, knowing the opportunities are going to continue to present themselves.
So Isaiah Ryder now with double figures, the young man that's been in and out of the doghouse, in and out of trouble throughout his career. And even in Portland is a man fans love to hate.
He's a Houdini.
He hits all 3 of the free tosses. 12 points for him now. Eddie Jones has 20 and sits with 4 fouls.
And it's a 9-point ball game, so the Trailblazers need to maintain contact over the next 3/30.
Beautiful pass. Robert Horry threaded the needle with that entry pass, and Shaq with a 3-point opportunity.
Shaq works so hard at this deep position. This is a setup play here. The Lakers have always been the masters at freeing up big men.
Isn't it the greatest feeling of all for a big man when the passer puts it right where you want it?
The combination plays, Tom, that's what makes it so special. The relationship that you have with the guy that's putting that ball on the money for you.
Now, in order to help Cato, the Trailblazers got to get some heat on the passer. And last time it was Horry, Fox. Those guys have got to see hands and make them tentative about throwing that ball down and low like that. Wallace.
Nice pass by Stoudemire.
An assist for Stoudemire. Wallace with the jam for his 10th point of the game.
And Wallace having a good third quarter. He's got 8 in the quarter, keeping Portland in it. 10-point ball game.
Dunleavy calling for some trapping by his forwards.
They collapse on Shaq. Ball comes to Horry.
Big quarter for Ori. He's got 8 1/4, and this is a guy that normally doesn't look at the hoop, so he's having a big afternoon neutralizing Wallace.
Steve, the Lakers' ball movement is superior, and I think the Lakers' defense has been superior this afternoon.
It's been better in the first and third quarters. Portland still shooting a high percentage. Stoudemire missing.
Shaq's starting to roll, though. You can see the sweat starting to pour off his body. You can see the rhythm starting to come into his game.
Fox forgot the basketball as he made his move. Turnover by the Lakers. Shaq now with 7 boards. He's starting to heat it up, and the Lakers 83-71. Kobe Bryant. And coming to help, it appears Eldon Campbell committed the foul.
Trailblazers.
Or not, excuse me, it wasn't, or yes it was. It was Eldon, I think.
Trailblazers slowed things down as Campbell tried to come over and give some help to Kobe Bryant to try to get Ryder some sort of opportunity to score and draw the defense to him. He has been very good in creating problems for the Laker defense when he's down on the low post.
The foul was on Kobe Bryant and not Eldon Campbell.
Kobe has got those abdominal area problems that Shaq had, and he's got Shaq's guy, Alex McKechnie from Vancouver, who's been traveling with the Lakers and staying with the entire team. And Alex will go back to Portland for the Tuesday-Thursday matchups.
He did a good job on Shaq, didn't he?
Yeah, and it's the same type of program. It's just a little bit different, not as severe as Shaq's problem where they kept him out of 20 games.
Shaq's late season heroics, largely a function of him being healthy for the first time this season.
Trailblazers try to trap the ball, and that means with O'Neal out, they have a better chance of controlling things. Eldon Campbell a little off.
Nick Van Exel. Van Exel for 3, his first bucket of the game.
Van Exel bailing the Lakers out that time. Steve, you were right. Eldon is not the guy to be handling the ball up top. He should be roving the baseline and let Robert Horry be that top swing man.
In this quarter, the Lakers have missed only 1 shot. They're 11 of 12. And they'll get another opportunity off that miss.
And when a team is hot like this, as the defensive team, you got to be more aggressive. You got to start taking some chances, try to make guys quick shoot the ball. And the Lakers have been able to control things and the scoreboard as well.
Eldon Campbell, there's a miss, only the second of the quarter. Stoudemire pushing it. Dishing at the last minute, and Cato wasn't ready for it.
Too deep that time for Stoudemire. Not enough experience out there. Plus the Blazers are getting no second chance. And Brian Grant on the bench. Really Rasheed Wallace, the only big guy out there who can get to the offensive glass.
Well, the Trailblazers have to take heart. In the second quarter, they came off the floor from being 11 down.
Horry at the shot clock buzzer. Nails a 3.
Lakers celebrating here a quarter of perfect basketball. Teamwork, defense, passing, shooting.
And Ryder answers with a 3. Final seconds of the third. Horry is 5 for 5 in this quarter.
How about penetration right here, right at the shot, right at the quarter buzzer, and then kick it out to Horry, who's sizzling.
Van Exel will fall away as the third quarter comes to a close.
That's the end of 3 periods. The Lakers 89.
Isaiah Ryder and Eddie Jones continue their personal battle. It's evened up a bit, but Jones still has the upper hand. It's the Lakers on top, 89-75 in that third quarter. Los Angeles was the Blazers. They barely missed a shot. We'll be back to LA after these messages and a word from your local station. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
So I try to go to them and tell them, first of all, their intensity level have to go up, and try to take that ball to the basket, because we should be going to the foul line a lot more than we go.
With Jerry West possibly retiring, first of all, your thoughts on that, and second of all, will you have a much more active role should he step aside?
Well, hopefully that won't happen. If it does, we have a guy, Mitch Kupchak, who can do the job, and then I will try to do what I did for Jerry, just lend my advice, try to say we should maybe do this and that. and then Mitch will do whatever he wants to do. But first of all, we want Jerry West to be here, and I hope that Jerry Buss and Jerry West can work that out.
Shaquille O'Neal just scored. Let me ask you a league issue. You're on record as saying you want Michael Jordan to stay. You think he should stay. However, it appears that Phil Jackson is going to be pushed out. What are your thoughts on the most recent developments?
Well, it's a shame what happened with what I'm reading, that Floyd got hired and they're already talking to a trainer. And I think that only upsets probably Michael and Scotty, and that makes them probably want to leave now. And I know Scotty and probably Dennis will probably go, but Michael is the big issue. I'm hoping that if he wants to leave the Bulls, okay, that happened, but stay in the league. I wouldn't
have a place there with the Lakers for him?
I got a few places, but the one, we can't afford him, I know that. But I just think that Michael means so much to these young guys who don't have fundamentals, that are not professional yet. And he can continue to teach them how to be a professional and also how to be a classy athlete at the same time. And that's it.
Magic, good to see you. You're feeling good?
Wonderful. Good to see you. Tell Snapper he still owes me for the dinner. And Bill, I love you. But Snapper's got to go.
You just told him yourself. Back to you guys.
Good luck on trying to collect from Snapper.
That's a long line, Magic. You better get in the back of that line.
We'll be seeing, of course, Michael Jordan and the Bulls coming up next in Game 3 of our triple-header as they take on the Nets in Game 2 after the Nets forced them into overtime in the opening game of that series.
Rick Fox coming up lame after that drive. You can just see the grimace on his face.
A 16-point ball game. Portland can't trade baskets now. They've got to find a way to stop the Lakers, keep them out of an open court, make them a jump shooting team. Van Exel.
Rebounded by Wallace. Lakers up 93-77.
Again, the Lakers are the kind of team that will lose concentration. They will let you back in the game. But you got to outwork them. And at this stage, the Trailblazers got to start doing that. Wallace misses.
Sabonis, offensive rebound, puts it back up. This time it's cleared by Campbell.
Jack in transition here. He can get up and down the court a lot quicker than Sabonis can.
Brian Grant picks up the rebound. His fifth. Grant playing now with 5 fouls.
Bill Harris telling us that he really thinks that Eldon Campbell will play a lot against this Blazer team during this series.
And right on cue, he rejects that shot, though the Blazers keep possession. 5 to shoot. Stoudemire got the roll.
But the big, powerful front line that the Blazers present is a golden opportunity for Eldon to come in. And so many of the teams now are going with a small lineup, John, that Eldon doesn't get that much playing time.
Now Portland's got to get up and defensively start putting pressure on the passer. The ball is moving too easily at the Laker end of the floor. They're now able to just get guys cutting through the hoop. O'Neal with the shot clock at 5.
Fox lost it.
Terrific hands defensively by Sabonis.
Stoudemire fouled by Van Exel as we take a timeout. 8:33 left at the Forum. Lakers trying to go up 2-0. 93-79. Shooting in the game almost exactly even, 30 field goals apiece. And Grant is fouled by Campbell. Difference at the free throw line. 25 of 39. Portland shot only 14 of 17.
It is a huge difference, and Portland's going to have to work very hard to make it up. Grant's going to get a pair after a foul inside.
Here's Brian Grant at the free throw line, though. Grew up in Georgetown, Ohio, which is about an hour west of Cincinnati.
They call him the General because that's also the hometown of U.S. Grant.
Really?
Yes.
You're stunned.
I am stunned.
A piece of information
I've never been to Georgetown. A large extended family that Brian Grant grew up in. Just 1 year of varsity high school basketball before going on to Xavier.
13-point lead, certainly one that Portland can get back into as they get a turnover from O'Neal.
3-on-1 break for the Blazers. Stoudemire. And laid in by Grant. Shaq fell down, lost the ball, resulted in a Portland basket. Lead cut to 11. Fast break point still in favor of the Lakers. Van Exel. Good position and block out by Wallace and by Sabonis. Stoudemire is fouled.
Stoudemire was trying to get himself an angle so he could get that ball to Wallace. They have a great chemistry, but he was fouled in the process, so it's a third-team foul. Portland only has one team foul, so their defensive energy should stay up.
Steve, it's been a long time since I was the middleman on the fast break there. Isn't that a traveling violation?
Well, since you've never been the middleman on that fast
I said
break.
a long time. A long time.
There's that Ryder-Jones battle, and Jones knocked it away. 3-on-2 Lakers. Van Exel. Jones will shoot two.
And the Blazers not getting back. Ryder spending his whole time arguing about being fouled while Eddie Jones is just going up the court. Good ball movement here. You get it to the middle, split the defense, and then earn a trip to the foul line.
Now later on Dateline, Jerry Springer. You know the show, you've heard the stories. They say all those fights have been staged. Well, Jerry has his side of the story on Dateline tonight on NBC. Have you ever been on the...
I got an inside. He's the guy that's staging them. Bill Wall.
Next thing you know, they're going to tell me wrestling's fixed.
I'm waiting for Magic's show, his talk show. That's what I want to see.
Sabonis stripped by Kobe. 2-on-1. Bryant's got Van Exel, who lays it in.
Now, there's been the difference at the defensive end. Whenever the Trailblazers have gotten a little energy going, it's been the quick hands of the Lakers that has denied them. Wallace trying to get a foul, doesn't get it.
Dunleavy can't believe the free throw disparity in this game. He was right over there in Joe Forte's face.
And that free throw disparity has led to this big Laker lead. (96-82). Individual battle between Eddie Jones and Isaiah Ryder. Isaiah won round one in game one, though Jones' team took the victory. And today, Eddie, 21-16, outscoring Isaiah.
Difference has been Eddie Jones' ability to get to the free throw line. They've both been down in terms of shots on goal. Eddie Jones has been the better from deep out on the floor, perfect at 3 of 3 on three-point shots. But Portland now has to dig deep. Down 14, they've got to begin to assert themselves at both ends of the floor by getting quick, easy scores and then stopping the Lakers.
Tom, you know how much I respect your basketball expertise, but I am going to have to disagree with you. I thought Eddie Jones played a better game in game one.
Well, in points I was talking about.
Okay,
Ryder outscored him. Wallace, that's a long range too.
I hate to argue with the boss here, but in points per field goal attempt, Eddie Jones was superior. We're certainly superior. And this is from game one. Superior on the boards, on block shots, on steals, fewer turnovers.
Well, 25 for Isaiah. What game were you watching? 25 for Isaiah. Eddie had 14.
What game were you watching?
I think it was 25 to 14, I believe. But the Lakers won the game.
There you go.
That's the bottom line.
Thank you, Tom.
12-point game after that Wallace hoop. They get a mistake from the Lakers. See if Portland can capitalize. Wallace again traveling.
Robert Horry will pitch it into Van Exel.
This is not a good matchup if they leave Rasheed Wallace against O'Neal. Look for the Lakers to try to get the ball to Shaquille O'Neal down low.
Talked about the free throws being a factor. That turnover situation is too. And the Lakers have been very productive on converting them to Hoyt.
What a great pass by Shaq.
It was a great pass.
He has thrown some passes today. This is usually Sabonis' domain in the passing, but Shaq is clearly surpassing. He just puts it up there so soft. Horry claiming he gets pushed here.
The officials agreed with him, and they said Ryder was the guy that
they bought it.
Yeah, they got him underneath, and that's a fourth personal foul. Trailblazers 13 fouls, so they and the Lakers both in the same situation.
Lakers defense has just been superior today. Robert Horry is magnificent in every aspect of the game.
And don't forget, Bob Costas, Isaiah Thomas, Doug Collins standing by to bring you the third game of our triple header. New Jersey Nets against MJ and the Chicago Bulls. They went to overtime in game one before the Bulls could pull it out. Game two coming up next, and I guess Ahmad Rashad is there with them as well. So getting ready. When we're through here, we'll send it to them for game two, the Bulls and the Nets. Robert Horry, one of the unsung heroes of the Lakers if they win today. Stoudemire misses a three. Shaq collects the rebound.
I think Robert Horry is one of the most underrated players in all of basketball. Guy who doesn't ever put up big numbers and won't as long as he plays with Shaq. And, I don't know if Robert Horry is capable of putting up big numbers. That's just not the way he plays.
Well, he has 15 points today, had 11 in the third. That one nearly went down. But as it is, Wallace rebounds.
Now, Portland's got to think about getting two at a time. Don't worry about trying to get back with threes very quickly. They're going to get a foul down low.
It's on Horry, I think.
Robert Horry. Second personal, fourth team. So Portland, if they can get to the line on a foul, they now have a chance to score from the stripe easily, and they need all the 2 points they can get. Ryder.
Tough shot, Ryder. High arching shot, and Isaiah has 18.
Tough shot is his middle name, so that was a piece of cake.
Well, a lot of time left in this game for Portland to do some damage.
This is a bad matchup, though. They got to keep giving help to Wallace. They get a turnover against Shaq.
Nice save by Stoudemire, but a bad pass. Eddie Jones nearly had it. Can't handle it. It'll be Portland ball.
Eddie Jones trying to take out Elston Turner, the great assistant coach for the Portland Trail Blazers.
Well, Ryder's got the fans chanting Eddie Jones and also booing him, but Ryder's right there with Eddie Jones in terms of point production almost this afternoon. He's got 18. Eddie Jones got 21. Ryder.
Only 5 of 12 shooting, and Ryder misses that one. Van Exel takes it the other way.
Now here's Brian Grant having to deal with Shaq right now.
Well, it's a bad matchup for the Trailblazers. What they're hoping is that they can get a double team, but they've been getting mistakes from the Lakers. Can Portland capitalize? Ryder.
They can with Isaiah Ryder. Jones quickly takes it to the other end of the court, but Portland gets back on defense. And a timeout taken by the Lakers.
Dale Harris nervous about.
Well, we are a great defensive team, and so the Lakers, who have a great opponent's field goal percentage team, a team that really is capable of shutting their opponents down. Nice passing.
And Fox missed the layup, but it was a beautiful effort of quick diagonal passing to get the open shot.
Walt Williams trying to slide one in. Portland fortunate to get it back, but again, the Lakers are now standing. They only scored 8 points in the quarter after putting back-to-back quarters together, 25 and 35. Some pretty good numbers against the Trailblazers. Portland dominating, but still down.
Nice catch of the pass. And the Laker foul.
Finally, the Blazers will get to the foul line here.
Horry's third foul, and well, that was a pretty sparkling catch that Isaiah Ryder made. He was going in one direction, the ball in the other.
Walt Williams is normally an expert passer.
Ryder to the free throw line after the Horry foul. And Portland, who played the Lakers to a 2-point game in game one, line back within 8. And to 7.
Ryder with 8 and a quarter, now 22 in the ballgame.
Laker lead is 7. Turnovers today. 10 by the Lakers, 18 by Portland. Lakers have gotten 15 more points off the turnovers. Shaq made the fake. Grant goes flying by, and it's curtains.
But again, the passing, the post-entry. Robert Horry, who fed Akeem for those 2 championship years down with the Rockets in the mid-90s.
Ryder, long rebound to Fox. 9-point game, just under 3 minutes.
Nice shot selection.
Quick shot by Ryder. Gives the Lakers a chance to add to the lead. Van Exel. Passed it out to Fox.
Shot clock at 6.
Jones. Fouled by Williams. Lakers trying to hold on. What better way to do it than go to the big fella? It's 99-90. For game 3.
Lakers trying to find Shaq. They want to try to put some pressure on the smaller lineup, get Shaq going.
Tapped out by Fox. Nice.
Fox and Horry have made so many little plays today, Tom.
Cerebral forwards.
They've also scored today. This has been a day when their brains and their ability to make good plays have turned into some big baskets for them. Fox had a great start. Horry has been big in the second half.
But they're the kind of forwards, Horry and Fox. Uh-oh, a technical foul here.
Walt Williams assists the tee.
Tough to have a comeback when you're getting teed up after you just deck a guy. Now they're going to have... How many free throws do you get here, Tom?
Get a technical 2 free throws.
Rick Fox, who was disappointed in his play, only 9 points and 3 rebounds in game 1, was the first player out on the court for either team today. Some 3 hours before the game, he was out here shooting by himself.
Well, Rick Fox is just so thrilled to be in the playoffs after the Celtics fell apart last year. But Rick is that type of guy who can team with Shaq and play so well because he can play on the perimeter, he can stroke threes, he can feed the post, run the floor.
20 points, he and Horry combining for 30 points today. No, excuse me, 35.
Been a big effort. I mean, they gotten some point production from spots that they didn't get in game 1, and it's made it easier for them to keep control of the scoreboard. Now Portland's looking for a quick score. Grant, he's got 5 1/4.
Inside 2 minutes, 10-point game.
Now you got to have some steals, and Portland really hasn't been consistently able to get the ball out of the Lakers' hands and make them make mistakes.
Fox goes glass for number 22.
The Blazers, when they have gone to the trap, have not been successful because the ball movement for Los Angeles has been perfect this afternoon.
And Portland looking for some threes, and the Lakers know it, so they're up on the 3 shooters.
Ryder spotted for the 3.
Shaq, just too strong.
Ryder's going to hear it from the crowd.
Tom, one of the problems that the Blazers have had is the fact that Damon Stoudemire and Rasheed Wallace have not come up huge. Now, Stoudemire's got 17 points. He does have 13 assists, and that's pretty darn good. But the 6 turnovers by Stoudemire have certainly not helped the Blazer cause. And Rasheed Wallace, just 12 points and 7 rebounds. If you're going to come in and ever beat Shaq, Kobe Bryant, and all these Laker stars, your stars have got to be huge themselves, and that has not been the case.
It has not been a dominating game by Shaq either, as Eddie Jones gets a good hand. The fans well aware of that war of words with Isaiah Ryder, who also is applauding, by the way. Shaq now 4 or 5 of 11 at the free throw line. 19 points, 9 rebounds. Not a dominating Shaq performance.
They give up the 3-point shot to Stoudemire, knowing they want possession of the ball. Walt Williams.
Williams hits another three.
Walt has been very good, but Tom, back to Shaq. I thought his passing was just tremendous today.
Really
He got everybody involved, found Ori, found Fox, found Nick Van Exel.
And Rick Fox found a foot in his way.
Fox was so beat up coming into this game, and the last 3 or 4 times down the court, he just ended up face down, so it's not going to get any better.
And O'Neal comes out, Campbell comes in, but these are the playoffs. Rick Fox is going to play. He's going to play in whatever condition, and the Lakers need him out on the floor. He's been closing this game out with some very good plays, and he's back at the line. He's got 7 in the quarter.
So Williams is disqualified on fouls, and Fox returns to the line.
And so for the second game, Walt Williams fouls out against the Lakers, just about the same position in game number 1.
Fox ready again as Eddie Jones has been taken from the game, and the Trailblazers facing the prospect of returning to the City of Roses down 2 games.
So, you know what? I think one thing that Mike Dunleavy can build on is that in Kelvin Cato and in Brian Grant, he found 2 guys who are at least willing to stand in there and slug it out a little bit with Shaq. And not just be foulers, but actually be defenders.
Grant.
What the Trailblazers are going to have to do in the next 48 hours is revamp and find a way to find their confidence again. I think more than anything else, the Lakers took their confidence away from them.
Fox for 3.
Ori has not stopped hustling yet.
Isaiah Ryder. That'll be 24 points for him. Eddie Jones went to the bench with 21.
Well, Stoudemire fouls. Dale Harris was trying to empty the bench. 18.2 seconds left. They have a 10-point lead. Want everybody to get a little taste of the second victory for the Lakers. Not much of a taste. All these guys come in.
But these are the guys, the nameless, the faceless for the Lakers, who do all the dirty work, all the grunt work, have to sit there through the shoot-arounds in the film session. Don't get to capitalize at the bank, but certainly it's special to be part of a real unique team here in Los Angeles.
Saw over on the bench Corey Blunt with his warm-up on, the only man that hasn't gotten in the game, it looks like, for the Lakers. As you see, that Laker lead about to go to 2-0.
Games on Tuesday and Thursday at the jam-packed Rose Garden. The Blazer Maniacs will be out in full force.
Wallace for 3. Tapped in by Grant. Derek Fisher's done a pretty good job today with 7 assists, 10 points, and not a single turnover.
An unheralded performance today, but certainly incredibly valuable time.
Lakers take a commanding 2-0 lead. Rasheed Wallace kicks the ball to the ceiling of the Forum as his team loses. We'll be right back. You see that? That's the head of the kid.